Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Old Man and the Read. My name is Jerry. Today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite literary awards, the Neustadt International Prize for Literature. This is a literary award that I wasn't aware of until I came across it and decided to read the books in it. And I've discovered, there's 7 of these authors that I've already done individual talks about or videos, and 5 of them are writers that I wasn't aware of and discovered from this literary award. And those 5 are among my very favorite writers of all time. So the Neustadt Prize started in 1970, and it's sponsored by the University of Oklahoma, and it's given every other year. So there's going to be a lot of books. Now, I'm going to show the writers that I've already talked about or done videos with. I'm just going to show the books, and I won't say anything about them. So if you're interested, you can go back to see the videos I've already done on those writers. But anyway, with that, I'll start showing you, and I'm probably going to have to break this up into a few portions because there's a lot of books here. So the very first winner in 1970 was Giuseppe Ungaretti. The only book, I've only read one of his books, and this is Allegria. This is just an exceptional collection of very short poems, and they were written by Ungaretti while he was in the trenches during World War I. Some of the poems are very much influenced by the war, but others are completely removed from it. The next winner in 1972 was Gabriel Garcia Marquez, and he's one of the writers that I've done a video for, so I'll just show you the books. The first is 100 Years of Solitude. The next is Collected Stories. Love in the Time of Cholera. The General in His Labyrinth. Strange Pilgrims. Of Love and Other Demons. And I guess that's everything I've read by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. The next winner was in 1974, and this is Francis Ponge. He's another poet, and this is titled Selected Poems. This is a collection of fairly short poems, and then there are some longer ones. And the longer ones I would classify more as poetic essays, but really outstanding. The next winner in 1976 was Elizabeth Bishop, one of my really favorite writers, and I'll show you what I've read by her. This is the Collected Prose, and this is essays from her personal memories, and there are a few short stories included. The essays include some of her childhood memories, a few about the years she was living in Brazil, and then the best essay I thought was one titled Efforts of Affection, and this is about her friendship with the poet Marianne Moore. The next book I have are the complete poems of 1927 to 1979, and this is a collection of, I think, all of basically all of her poems, and just exceptional poems. Among my favorites is one titled An Invitation to Miss Marianne Moore, and this is a tribute to her friend Marianne Moore. And other favorites are Arrival at Santos. This is about her first arrival, when she first arrived in Brazil. And then another titled First Death in Nova Scotia. And this is about the death of her little cousin, Arthur. And the final book I have by Elizabeth Bishop is Poems, Prose, and Letters, and this includes all of her poems, her short stories and essays, and then along with a whole assortment of literary statements and letters, and much of this I had already read. Then the next winner was Czesław Miłosz. This is another of the writers I've done individual videos for, and the first book I have is The Land of Ulro. The next is is Visions from San Francisco Bay. Native Realm. To Begin Where I Am. The Seizure of Power. The Captive Mind. The Mountains of Parnassus. The Issa Valley. Milosz's ABCs. Beginning with My Streets. Selected Poems by Czesław Miłosz, 1931 to 2004. Another book titled Selected Poems. Roadside Dog. And Second Space. Then in 1980, the winner was Joseph Skivoraki, and I've read The Cowards. This is takes place towards the end of World War II in a small Czech town. It follows a young man who plays sax in the phone, or saxophone in a band. And this takes place when the Germans are in the process of leaving, so they don't have to surrender to the Russians, and they can surrender to the Americans. And the young sax player is emboldened by this move by the Germans, and so he joins the resistance. The next book is The Bass Saxophone. This is two novellas. One is titled Emoke, and this is about a young man who meets an attractive young woman who has strong religious beliefs, and he's an atheist. And then The Bass Saxophone. This is about a young Czech man who reluctantly joins a group of German musicians. Next book is The Miracle Game. This is a satire of the communist Czechoslovakia, and it follows a young man who starts as a new teacher in a all-girls school, and this is shortly after he had contracted a sexually transmitted disease. The story is then is about his exploits, mostly about his behavior, and then a lot of it is about exposing the behavior of the Communist Party. The next winner was Octavio Paz. and this was 1982, and the first book I have is In Light of India, and this is Pa's talking about his first diplomatic post when he was assigned to India, and he talks about the people he met, and he compares that India with his home country, Mexico. And then I have the collected poems of Octavio Paz. The next book, or the next winner, was Pavel Hevico. Here we go. This was a 1984 winner, and I have just the one book. This is 1 and 20, and this is an epic poem about a group of 21 men who set off on an adventure to sail first to Byzantine, where they discover a mythical treasure called the Sampo, and then from there go in search of the source of the Nile. The next writer is one of those that I had discovered from reading this book, or this literary award, and that's Max Frisch, and the books I have by him are The Firebugs, Blue Beard, Man in the Holocene, Montauk, Cantenbian, Homo Faber, I'm Not Stiller, An Answer from the Silence, and the last book is A Wilderness of Mirrors. Then in 1988, the winner was Raja Rao, and I have just the one book. This is Kantapura, and this is a story of India's struggle for independence from the British, and it takes place in a small village and talks about it from that perspective. And although the people were practicing nonviolence, they were met with extreme violence. In 1990, the winner was The Half-Finished Heaven, or was Thomas Transtromer, and I've only read the one book, The Half-Finished Haven. This is just really exceptionally beautiful poetry, and great book. The winner in 1992 was Hal Cabral de Melo Neto, and I have only the one book, Education by Stone, and this is really an exceptionally good book of poetry, but it's poems about objects and things that bring out the nuances and factors of those objects that we don't normally associate with them. And I have the last book I have is, or the last winner I'm presenting is Camus Brathwaite, and the book is Middle Passage. This was the 1994 winner of the award, and these are a book. It's a book of poetry, but most of the poems are about the murderous treatment of black people who, and the what they've been subjected to throughout history, and it's the poems are delivered with a sense of anger, but some of the poems are tributes to some of the black people's contribution to music. Okay, I'm going to pause this now and gather up some more books. Okay, I'm back. Uh, then in 1996, the winner was Asiya Japar, and I've only read one book. This is So Vast the Prison, and this is a fictional semi-autobiography. It's kind of a confusing book. It's broken into three parts. The first part is the protagonist is infatuated with a younger man who she calls her beloved while she's still married. Then the second part is really strange. It's a history of the fall of Carthage, and to me, I couldn't associate or figure out what that had to do with anything else in the book. And then the third section is a compilation of just different stories about her, and mostly about her life as a filmmaker. The winner in 1998 was Neustadt, and the first book is Gifts, and this follows a Somalian woman in her day-to-day activities and her family, and there's really not a lot of action that takes place in the book. Probably the most significant thing was when her daughter brought home a baby that she had found in a landfill. And I read one other book by Farah, and this is Sweet and Sour Milk. This is a story about a young man trying to uncover the truth about or behind his twin brother's mysterious death. It takes place when Somalia has been taken over by a military junta, and this had been aided by the Russians. But the young man's brother had been a leader of the opposition. Then the winner in 2000 is David Malouf, and he's one of those writers I discovered through this literary award, and he is one of my extremely favorite writers. Just incredible poetic prose. So I'll show you what I have by Malouf. The first is Harlan's Half Acre, An Imaginary Life, Jono, book of poetry, Earth Hour, a small little essay, The One Day, Remembering Babylon, Every Move You Make, Dream Stuff, Untold Tales, two novellas in a book, Child's Play and The Bread of Time to Come, The Complete Stories, Ransom, The Conversation at Curlew Creek, Fly Away Peter, and The Great World. Just an incredibly good writer, though. Next, the winner was Alvaro Mutez in 2002, and I have only one book, but it's really quite an exceptionally good book. It's The Adventures and Misadventures of Mark Roll. And this is actually 7 novellas in the one book, all about the exploits of McCraw, and the titles of the different sections are The Snow of the Admiral, Ilona Comes from the Rain, Unbel Morari, the Tramp Steamer's Last Port of Call, Amar Bar, Abdul Bashir, Dreamer of Ships, and Triptych on Sea and Land. Just really great stories, and anyway, it's a great book. The next book I have, or next writer, is Adam Zagajewski. He was the winner in 2004, and the first book I have is Slight Exaggeration, and this is a book of that's written in a very conversational way, and Zagajewski talks about a whole variety of subjects, and just really a great read. A lot of it has to do with poets and poetry, but also music and travel, and there's a lot about the occupation of Poland by the Germans and then the Soviets. And then just really a great book of poetry, Asymmetry. The next winner I have is Gabriel Aguilera, or Alegria. Gabriel Alegria. Anyway, I only have the one book, Tunnel to Canto Grande. This is just an exceptional story of an amazing escape from what was considered an escape-proof prison. But it's about a Peruvian revolutionary group that tunneled under a prison to free 48 of their comrades, and that was from the Canto Grande prison. The next winner in 2008 is Patricia Grace, and I have only one book by her. This is Potiki, and this is a story of a Maori family being pressured by developers to sell their land. And this is the land of their ancestors where all of their traditions arose. And the story is told from several perspectives and blends ancient traditional beliefs with a little bit of mysticism. The winner in 2010 was Duo Duo, and the title of the one book of poetry I have is The Boy Who Catches Wasps. And this is a compilation of poems from the 70s on through the 90s. And I thought the most telling thing is the stark difference between the poetry that he wrote in his early days in China and then the poetry he wrote after he immigrated to the West. The next writer I have is the winner in 2012, and that's Rohinton Mistry. Incredibly good writer, but he's only published 4 books, and I read all 4 of them. The first is A Fine Balance. This is a story that follows 4 different characters in 1975 India. One of them is Manuk, and he's a college student who wants to rent a room. Another is Dina, and she has an apartment where she has a small business, sewing business in it, and she hires a couple of men, Ishwar and Om, to sew for her, and they both belong to the lowest caste in India, known as the Untouchables. The next book I have is Tales from Firosha Bog. And this is satirical stories of Indian culture, and they're all based out of an apartment complex in Bombay. Next book is Such a Long Journey. This follows Gustad. He's a hard-working, decent man trying to earn enough to support his family. The story takes place during the time that India and Pakistan were first going to war, and there's many subplots in the book, and it's all about Gustad's heartbreaking tale, and much about the corruption of the government under the Indira Gandhi. And the last book by Mistry is Family Matters. This is a story of an elderly man with Parkinson's disease, and his stepdaughter has a large apartment. She's fairly well off, but she doesn't want to take care of him. But his younger daughter, who lives in a tiny apartment with her young family and is barely surviving on her husband's salary, wants to take him in. Okay, I'm going to gather up my last bunch of books, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back with a large stack of books here. This section, the last part of the this group of of the winners, there's a couple of the writers that I've read a lot of their books. So anyway, and one of them is the first one I'm going to talk about. This was the winner in 2014, and this is Mia Cato, just an incredibly good writer. His writing is categorized as mystical realism, but it's all, just about everything he writes is based more on traditional Mozambique beliefs, and those of us who aren't familiar with it will view it as mystical realism. But anyway, and I have done. He's one of those I've done a individual video on, so I'll just show you the books. The first is The Blind Fisherman, Rain and Other Stories, Voices Made Night, Every Man is a Race, The Tuner of Silences, The Last Flight of the Flamingo, Under the Fragapani, Sleepwalking Land, A River Called Time, Confessions of the Lioness, Woman of the Ashes, The Sword and the Spear, and the last one I have is Sea Loves Me. Just an incredible writer. Okay, then the winner in 2016 was Dubravka Ubresic, and I've only read 2 of her books. The first is The Ministry of Pain, and this is a book I just read just a few weeks ago. But this is about a woman who escapes from Yugoslavia after its violent breakup, and she goes to Amsterdam, where she now teaches literature at the University of Amsterdam. Her students are all from Yugoslavia, but her teaching method causes many of them to drop out, and she only has 4 students by the end of the term. And then the other book I have by Recic is Lend Me Your Character, and this is a collection of just really humorous to outright hilarious short stories. A couple of them I'll mention is Steffi Zvek in The Jaws of Life, and this is about a young woman who is leading a dull life, and she wants to liven it up, and so she wants to improve her love life. And she goes through a series of meeting different men, and Ugresic inserts herself into the story when Steffi asks her why she doesn't write a story about her meeting the love of her life, and very, very humorous. Then in 2018, the winner was another one of those writers that I discovered through this literary award, and who I've read quite a number of her books. This is Edwidge Danticat, and I'll show you what I have. Everything Inside, The Art of Death, Untwine, Claire of the Sea Light, Create Dangerously, Brother, I'm Dying, The Dew Breaker, The Farming of Bones, Crick Crack, and Breath, Eyes, Memory. But just an outstanding writer. Then another of those writers that I discovered through this literary award, and I've read pretty much everything he's written. Just, I think, one of the best writers of all time, and that's Ismail Kader of Albania, and he was the winner in 2020. And what I have is The Fall of the Stone City, Agamemnon's Daughter, The Successor, Spring Flowers, Spring Frost, The Siege, The Accident, The Pyramid, The File on H, The Concert, The Palace of Dreams, The Three Arts Bridge, Broken April, Chronicle in Stone, The Ghost Writer, The General of the Dead Army, Elegy for Kosovo, The Traitor's Niche, A Girl in Exile, and the last book I have is Twilight of the Eastern Gods. Then the winner in 2022 was Bababakar Boris Diop, and I've only read one book by him, Marumba, the Book of Bones. This is really an exceptional book, but rather a disturbing one. It's based around the Rwanda genocide, and that's where over 1 million people were murdered, and mostly by machete. But the story follows a man, Cornelius, and his father had organized the murder of 45 to 50,000 people, and this included his wife and two of his children. And the only way Cornelius had survived was he was actually working in a different country at the time. Then I have the last winner was Ananda Devi. She won in 2024, and I have actually 3 of her books. The Living Days, and this is about a younger a woman, Mary. When she was 15 years old, she had a one-night stand with a young man named Howard, and she never knew his last name. But in the morning following that one-night stand, he had to depart to World War II, and he had pledged to marry her when he returned, but he never did return, and she never saw him again. So she spent the next 60 years waiting for him, and then in her 70s, she meets a 13-year-old boy and forms a relationship with him. The next book is Eve Out of Her Ruins, and this is poetic but very brutally told story of life in Mauritius, and the story goes through alternating chapters between 4 narrators. And the last book I have is When the Night Agrees to Speak to Me, and this is a collection of poetry, and many of the poems are about suicide and depression, and some graphic descriptions of violence. So those are the books I've read in the Neustadt International Prize for Literature. I want to thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you again. Thanks.